Hello guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see on the thumbnail, I did get some fancy goldfish, specifically oranda goldfish. They're really cute. They're not fully grown yet. The black and white one is called Tubby Toby, and he is a male goldfish. And the red, black and white one is called Chubby Charlie. And she is a female goldfish. And I do also have a hoplo catfish in there, just to keep the tank clean, make sure there's no dirt or algae on the glass. So let's talk about care for your goldfish. What should you get? What type of filter should you get? What type of substrate should you get? Should I have a heater? Tank size. Tank size, I would recommend a rule of thumb, 70 litres for your first fancy goldfish, and then 40 litres for every extra one. But really, you could keep 2 fancy goldfish in a 90 litre, as long as you have sufficient oxygen, sufficient food, and the sufficient filter size. Substrate is quite hard because some people recommend having no substrate. Other people recommend having a gravel substrate. I would recommend having either no substrate or a sand substrate, as poop can't get stuck between the sand, and they like to sift through the sand. They like to put it in the mouth and spit it out. It's a natural behaviour, so it expresses the natural behaviours like they would in the wild. And you might be thinking, Reed, you crazy, fancy goldfish don't live in the wild. Correct, but Southeast Asian carp do, and that's where fancy goldfish come from. They're relatives of Asian carp. Now, do you need a heater? I wouldn't recommend a heater, but if you have got a hoplo catfish like me, I would recommend, and it depends really where you're at in the world. Like, I have quite a warm room, so I just keep a heater in there just for the winter, just when it gets cold. So yes, I would actually recommend having a heater, and I would recommend just getting just a stick-on heater on the back. Set it to 23 degrees, or like high 70s, low 80s Fahrenheit, I think it is. Yeah. Now for filter, I would recommend a sponge filter, but I have a built-in filter on my tank when I ordered my aquarium. So I would recommend getting a size filter for your size tank. If you have pieces of sponge in your filter, I would recommend changing them out monthly, or just to keep the tank clean and make sure the filter isn't processing extra. Just a breeding ground for ammonia and nitrite, which kills your fish, unfortunately. If you have a sponge filter, I would recommend just squeezing it out in a separate bucket of water every month. And if you have 2 in there, I would recommend squeezing one out, then leaving one for a week, then squeezing one out after the week of you squeezing the other one out, just to keep good bacteria in the filter. Now, tank space, I'm going to go a bit more on the tank space. I would recommend having more of a flat tank. Definitely don't have a more high tank than it's flat. So you want to have more width than length, I think it is. The reason for that is because they like to swim width, they keep low, the bottom feeders, so you won't really have the goldfish swimming to the top all the time unless they're deprived of oxygen. That's another thing. Goldfish need excess oxygen. Like most fish, they require more oxygen than most fish. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, just give them more oxygen. You can do this through large water changes, but I would recommend having a strong, powerful filter and maybe a water stone as well. I think it's air stone actually, but yeah, air stones just make sure your tank has a bunch of oxygen in. This goes for common goldfish as well, because common goldfish tend to need bigger tanks than fancy goldfish. So due to belief of them living in a bowl, people think, oh, they just need a small tank. No, they actually need, on average, a 40-gallon tank for one. Keeping plants with goldfish, I wouldn't recommend it unless it's a very thick-stemmed, thick-leaf type of plant, because they can't choke on it, they can't bite through it, they can destroy the plant, because the Asian carp eat plants in the wild, eat algae, eat moss. That's the diet. They eat bread, not bread, wheat, stuff like that. Now, which type I would recommend to keep? I'm not going to recommend a type. The type, just do your own research. Sometimes it varies due to type. Sometimes very slightly. You can keep ranchos and orandas in the same tank. So it doesn't vary much. They're basically the same thing. In terms of looks, I do love orandas though. I like the dorsal fin. I like the pectoral fins, I think they're called. And I like the breathing stars around the pectoral fin and around the eyes. And they also just come in neat colours to match in, the Wen's white, Toby over there. Wen white, black body with some patches of white. I think it's really cool. Dalmatian panda type oranda. Now, algae on the glass. Some people hate it, some people love it, because some people think it benefits your goldfish. They think it makes them feel more safe. I wouldn't say it does. It does nothing really. It doesn't affect your goldfish at all. Sometimes they eat it, whatever. It just doesn't look good, does it? So, I wouldn't get a pleco. I would just get a small, maybe hill stream loach or a dojo loach, if not one of the tropical ones. Maybe like a weather loach, something like that. Or, a hoplo catfish like me. Hoplo catfish grow about 15 centimetres. Well, how big do goldfish get? People normally believe they get big as they age, but no, that's not really the case. It just depends on your tank size, your tank temperature, how often you do water changes, and then the amount of protein you feed them. If you do water changes every day, you feed them 10 times a day, which is something I would never do because bloating frightens me. So if you feed them 10 times a day, you water change every day, you make the water a little bit warmer with a heater, they will grow massive within 6 months. And you have about 100-gallon tank. They will explode in size over 6 months, maybe even growing 20 centimetres. Yeah, so it doesn't matter about age. Your goldfish will still grow, but as it ages, but it doesn't matter about age. Your goldfish can still measure 10 centimetres, and it could be 4 years old, but yeah, it matters about the amount of protein, the tank size, the heat, and the other elements, like how much ammonia are in the tank. Try to keep that at 0. Actually, on the topic, how much ammonia and nitrate and pH and water hardness should you have in a tank? Well, I would recommend having a pH between 7.2 and 8.4, a water hardness of 120 ppm, or ppm, ppm, and ammonia, nitrate and nitrite level of 0. Now, the specific aquarium and equipment and substrate I recommend in the tank, I'm going to show it on screen and talk about it. So I would recommend having this here, just something you could adjust from 20 degrees to 34 degrees. Now I would recommend setting it at 23.5 type of region, or if you have an American heater, so high 70s, low 80s Fahrenheit. I would also recommend having this sponge filter, and as I said earlier, just squeeze it out in a bucket every month or so. Now remember to get the type of sponge filter or heater that covers your tank size. I would also recommend using this Roman gravel, personally what I used for my tank, sand. As you can see in this video, it's on the ground, it's sparkly, it's cool. And you can also get it in purples, whites, yellows, more yellows. I'd also recommend using this air pump for your sponge filters, since you can't power the sponge filters on your own, you need an air pump. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that's it for this video. And you do need a light source, but you can really use any light source for that, even a window light. So thanks for watching, and have a good day.